Right, welcome to another video. Another 1 litre EcoBoost engine. Today it's in an Ecosport. So this is in for a wet belt. It's got no symptoms of issues or anything like that. Just primarily because it's reached a certain age the customer wants it doing. So I don't know what we're going to find in there. I did say on the last video that we're going to do a competition. So obviously this is our next video. We'll do that a bit later on. It's pretty similar to all the others, so we'll get it pulled apart, see what we find, and yeah, we'll go from there. I'll take you along for the ride, bit of time lapse in, and yeah, let's go from there. Right, so you've just seen me work really fast. That's obviously the speed I work at. Pulled the top apart, come underneath, drop the cat off, whip the sump down, so then we can gain access to the strainer. So I said earlier about competition, said in the last video we're gonna give away a piece of merch, t-shirt. The competition is, what I want you to do is guess the mileage of this vehicle. I can tell you what year it is. It's on a 17 plate, and I'll give you clues along the way to how bad the belt is, so on and so forth. I don't know how bad it is yet, I haven't got it off. And whoever can guess the mileage either bang on or the closest to will win a free piece of merch. So you need to put that in the comments. Yeah, let's see if we can get as many comments as we can. And yeah, so what we're going to do now is take the strainer out of the oil pump, which I always crack off first because they make them a bit of a mess and they're quite tight to get out. So what I'll try and do is show you. So that's inside it, as you can see there. It's pretty clean, but there is bits of, there's quite a build up there on the edge. It's not anywhere near as bad as we've seen, but there is bits of belt in it. If you can see it there, like I say, it's nowhere near as bad as we've seen, and from what I've seen by the belt, it looks in okay condition. It obviously is. This customer's had it from new, I think, and he's only ever really brought it to us, so it's definitely never been done. But yeah, there's your first sort of indication on how old the belt is, or well, we know how old it is, a 17 plate, but what sort of mileage it's done. So what we'll do now is carry on. I need to now time it up. I'll try and show you that the best I can, but it's quite difficult to be up down showing you. But yeah, we'll get the locking tools in and then get the crank undone, and we can support the engine, get the end cover off, and then we can get the belt off and we can see what sort of condition that's in. But other than that, it all looks pretty good. It's definitely never been apart before. So yeah, let's crack on and see what we find. Right, so I'm just gonna now show you the process, whether it be right or wrong. This is how I do it. I'm not saying this is the only way. To time this up before we can remove the crank pulley, then we can remove the pulley, move the cover, then we can remove the belt. So I've already got the blank plug out the back of the block down there, and I've just rested the timing pin in. And I know from doing a few, this inlet cap sits on the cam. That lobe is in the wrong place. I know that. It's just past where it wants to be. So we're gonna have to go, obviously, all the way around, cranking the engine to get it back to where we want it to be. So it wants to be about 2 o'clock, that rearmost lobe on the inlet cam. So I know from doing, like I say, doing a few, that that's pretty close. So now what I'll do is reach down, put the timing pin in. So this is what the crankshaft goes up against. I'll show you this in a minute when we go underneath and put the locking tool in where the start goes. So within about 15 degrees, this should lock solid, like that. Perfect. And then you have this cap that sits on the cam. Just make sure that sits flush with the top of the head, which it does, which is spot on. And then this one goes on the exhaust. They have got it written on, I don't know if you can see that, exhaust and inlet. So you know you got it the right way around. And that one goes on there like that, and then there's just four Allen bolts that go and just hold that down. So we'll get them in. Now we know the timing's spot on. What I always do before I undo anything as well is just slide the pin in the crank pulley that goes through the pulley and into the cover, just to make sure the pickup for the crank pulley's in the right place. It will be, because it drove in absolutely fine. Like I say, this one's never been apart. So I'll just get an Allen screwdriver and just pull them down gently. I don't go mental, because it's not designed to be reamed up, but I just sort of pull them down so they're snug and they're not going to go anywhere. Like that. And then what we'll do is put the ramp up in the air. Just get a torch. In there is the locking pin, so that's, you can see that's against the back of the crank there. So now we know it's timed up right. Get the starter out and get the locking tool in there. That isn't anything to do with timing, that just holds it solid so we can undo the crank bolt, because it's torqued up really tight. It just makes it a safe way of doing that, so you're not pushing against the pin or using the caps that go on the cams to hold anything in place. No load on the belt, it's directly locked because it's in the flywheel. So I'll get that in, get the crank bolt undone. I'll put the torque multiplier on. I just use the torque multiplier to undo it. Just makes life a lot easier. Saves struggling, breaking anything. It's what it's designed for. So yeah, we'll get that on, get all that undone, and I'll show you probably when we've got the cover off. Right, so cover's off, belts are off. I'll show you the condition of the belts now. We'll do the main timing belt first. So the back of it's in fairly good condition, and the inside, where we seem to be getting all the trouble from, that is just starting to break up, and you can see that redness to it. That seems to be what comes off of the belt, and then that's what blocks the oil pickup and the oil filter to the turbo. So So that's what's causing our problems, and the teeth come off and the belt snap. But to start with, it's that reddy coloured material that comes off and blocks the pickup. So you've already seen the pickup. There was a tiny bit of debris in there. The oil pumps in very similar condition, I believe. Yeah, it's not horrendous. We've seen them a lot worse, but I'd say that's the perfect time to be doing them. So there's been no oil starvation of any kind go through the engine. So that's that off. I've still got to clean it all down, pull all the sealer off from before. What I will do is just pull this. This is the filter to the turbo, the oil filter to the turbo. So I'll just pull this one out. Just get a little hook pick in there and gently tease it out. So again, tiny bit of something on there. That might have been me pulling it out, to be fair. That looks really clean. Like you've seen on the last one where the turbo was gone, on the red one, this was pretty much completely blocked. So that's the difference between changing them when the belt's just starting to break up like this and leaving them for however long you want to. This one still seems in really good condition, but we've also not got a knackered turbo. We've not got an oil light staying on and stuff like that. So it's definitely worth doing them when they're like this. You've just got to, well, I say you haven't got to guess. I know what sort of mileage I'd be doing mine if I had one. But yeah, it's a case of if you just bought one and it's got decent miles on it, then in my opinion, just get it done and then you know it's squared away and you haven't got to worry about it going forward. So what I'll do is get that one cleaned off, get that fitted back in, put the grub screw back in, get all the surfaces cleaned up, all the covers sump cleaned up, put the belts on, and then I'll show you the new belts on. Right, so new belts on. As you can see, genuine Ford belt, new oil pumps on, or new oil pump belts on. That's all squared away, everything's cleaned up. I've just got to give it a final little wipe down and then we can get the cover on. We've also now started changing. I was just putting an O-ring on here, but I had one leak last week. So for the price of it, we now replace that plastic housing as well. Just a couple of pipes. And yeah, it just saves having an issue. They tend to split where the O-ring sits in. I've had it before on when I changed the engine in, split, and then when I was doing a wet belt last week it split again. So we just changed the housing now to get rid of any issues and any leaks that we have going forward, because once you've got it back together and you fill it up with coolant, to change that housing you've got to take the cap back off, which is a bit of a nightmare. So yeah, just change it first as last and then you know it's all squared away. So that's a new housing in there. The cover's all cleaned up. Again, I've just got to give it one little final wipe down. New crankshaft oil seals in there. Once I've cleaned it, put all the sealer on, put the O-ring in there with a tiny bit of red rubber grease on. So that's good to go. And then we can get the cover on, get it torqued up, and then engine mount on, back up in the air, sump on, and start building again. So I will get all them bits done and then probably put you on a time lapse in a bit so you can watch us build it back up. Right, so you join us at the end. Sorry there was no time lapse, I got a bit excited, started putting it back together and totally forgot to put you on time lapse. But it's all done now, it's full of oil, full of coolant. I've started it, runs fine, I've just put it up, checked for leaks, seems spot on. Just got a few final checks, check the oil level, take it for a drive, check the coolant, drive it again, check the coolant. We always do like 2 test drives at least, just to make sure it's all good. The second one a fair bit longer than the first one. And then we put it back on the ramp, check there's no leaks underneath, and then it's good to go. Between each road test, I always plug the diagnostics in, do a code scan, make sure there's nothing in there. There shouldn't be. There probably will be now when I first plug it in, because when I first fire them, I leave the coil packs unplugged and the injectors unplugged. So sometimes that throws a code. So I'll clear them down, test drive it. Yeah, and that's that, it's all done. So don't forget in the comments with the mileage, let's see who can get the closest. And we'll put like a, I don't know, a week, see how far we get in a week with comments. And then I'll decide, well, I won't decide who's the winner will decide the winner, but I'll look who's closest, and then I'll send you a message of some description and we'll go from there. So again, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, bell notification button. Let's get the numbers up, see if we can get to, I think it's nearly 5,000 subscribers we're at. So let's see if we can get there. That'll be really good. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Just about to pull a Fiesta in and diagnose why the oil light's staying on. I know why the oil light's staying on, but I will, I'll probably film the diagnosis process, whip the cat off, whip the sump down, check the strainer. I suspect that's completely block solid, and then we can speak to the customer about replacing their wet belt. But that'll be the next video I expect, and we'll see you on that one. Thank you.